Hey Tubes, Blazer Project. Well, got a half-inch of rain last night, which was good because we needed it. But we're on Toolbox again. This time it's putting the bed crane back in because I'm not getting any younger and I miss having that thing at the ready, which is always nice. But yesterday I went to go cut a couple plates of steel and the plasma cutter is dead. Now this prime weld, yeah, it works fine and also alright, but it puts one hell of a drain on this. And trust me, it just, how do I want to say this? It's too much for it. I've already found another one on Amazon, but I've got to wait for payday, see what my finances are, and I may be able to get it, may be able to order it plus spare parts and everything. But today it's mainly about welding. Gotta dig the welder out of the shed and stinking bugs. But you can see, got part going through there, there. I just basically got to weld this all up, fill the holes in because I'm going to put a plate on top and drill through that. I got carbide tip style hole cutters in the house that I ordered last year. Never got to use because things happened, but now we get to use them. But I need that back bad because it is just so nice to have. May have to replace the hydraulic cylinder and so forth, but we'll see what happens. And if I can swing it, I'm going to replace that with an electric winch. But see what happens. But first things first, I gotta clean up the garage before my dad throws a fit. So I'm gonna get on that, start taking the battery up, disconnect the battery, get the amp set up, disconnected, and basically we're gonna get ready to start grinding and welding up a storm and fixing all the problems. And also I'm gonna be putting another coat of Rust-Oleum on the base because it needs it. So on to work I go. Alright, went and raided the washer bucket after I ground and took out a bit of a weak spot, cleaned up some areas and so forth. I'm going to use washers to try and fill in some of this, and then I'll weld in the center part, which is going to be thicker metal. That way it'll help in, and then I'm going to grab those metal sheets, scribe around, and start grinding away, making sure I got more than enough area to weld. Plus also before this, every ground and positive is removed, especially from the battery. Open the hood. Both positive and negative are removed, including my amp setup and so forth. Replacing the battery terminal for the positive side. Gonna need to clean that. But back here for my sound system, both negatives removed and the positive, it's over there by the battery. It's removed, so I'm good. That's a critical step before you start welding on any vehicle, is you basically do not leave the grounds hooked up or the positive. Yeah, it sucks, but sheesh. You don't want to pay for an ECM or have all the flashy lights in the world. So I'm going to put something up, get the welder set up, and go to town. Alright, after about an hour and a half of welding, and yes, you can tell me welds suck. But I've never done with sheet metal before. I've only done the thick stuff, and needless to say, I found a lot of thin and weak spots, so yeah. But That's all welded back up. I did do a little bit of grinding, but needless to say, it's going to get covered and welded back over by steel plates. So, to fix what I did last time, took that, put it on top of that, and spray painted. Now I know the location of every single hole. Plus, this is off of Amazon. I found these hole saws, and I mean, I got these and I was like, holy smokes. Each one's different size. It looks like a true hole saw for metal. It has a drill bit with a spring and then its own freaking Allen key. So you don't have to fiddle around with any of them. And each one is in its own case, which is nice. These have been in my room for the freaking past winter. And now I'm finally getting to use them on our excuse me, drill press. So I'm gonna set you up and let's see how well these things do. This should be fun. Alright. Got our piece of metal. Let's get this up a little higher. That'll work. Perfect. Lock it down. And yes, I'm using my welding gloves like normal gloves. I do it all the time because they are thick and they don't tear as easily as other gloves. So bit of oil. Center it up. Note to self, hearing protection is a must. Sheesh, that is going through it like butter. And I mean, wow. Okay, I've got to lower this down some. And not catch the truck. Need to go get the earmuffs from the truck. I also need a piece of wood because, did I make a freaking score? 2x4, 2x4, 2x4. Yeah. Damn! That is clean through and I can't complain. So I got about 3, 6, 7 more holes to make. And nice little top hats. So shut you off. I'm going to get this all done and go from there. I'm beyond happy. That made short work of those. I mean, if I was going to be there with a regular drill bit, I'd be there forever. But that thing just chewed through, and the holes are perfect. I'll be looking this up and then put a link down in the description if you want them. That way you can have them. But that little drill press, freaking ate through them all, no problems whatsoever. So I gotta clean that up, get the vacuum, clean up metal shavings, put that in the back of the truck, and then I have got to drill bit the bed again. And if you're like, oh, you could have used the original holes. No, I could not. They were bad to begin with, and also the metal was thin. This is going to be on top, helping strengthen it up, and I'm going to weld it to the bed. But this one, I have to make sure I miss those two because those help hold the bed down to the frame rails. And eventually, yes, the bed will be coming off, but that's later on after I get caught up on a bunch of things and do some more work otherwise. That's probably going to be next year when I start that, if everything goes smooth, which right now has not, so yay. But next step, grab the spray paint, stick that on, spray where the holes are going to be, and then drill away, because we're getting close and I want to have that one piece welded on there today at least. That way the paint has enough time to freaking dry. Then tomorrow I may be able to enlist some help with the bottom piece, have it up, spray paint that thing, and drill the holes on that. Then I can bolt the base down. Then this goes back in its home after I grease everything. So this is roughly a 2-day project, maybe, because I've got to remember I go back to work here soon. Yay! So I've got to cook. Time to go back to work. All right. Had my dad come out and help me get this thing settled in. Got a steel plate here. These are all both hammered in. These are grade 8s. And underneath, I strung a plate here and a plate here to help with rigidity, which underneath I'm going to be putting Rust-Oleum on because rust is a problem, and one of the pinch welds right along here has started to separate, so I'm going to put some stuff in there just to make sure that it doesn't rust anymore. I'll dig out the pressure washer and do that. But for the most part, now it's just getting that set back in, greasing this whole thing up, shoving a bunch down there, and then I've got to fix a few things on it and put a freaking stay lock on it, basically securing that to the base or part of the bed, most likely to the base. I can always repaint and everything. So on to more work, welding and grinding, and I hope that cylinder's still good. If not, I'll have to buy one. Oh well, fun of what happens when projects sit unlike that. Alright, after cutting some more holes in metal, got a plate down here with this resting on top. These are grade 8s, got a washer. Underneath is a washer and a lock washer. Now, underneath, I put stringer plates all along here and over there. I couldn't get to that one because frame rail and so forth. All those are tightened down with a washer and a lock washer. They are going nowhere. I got to get some Rust-Oleum paint on here, underneath here, after I pressure wash the daylights out of this thing, get all the loose stuff broke free and so forth. That way when the paint goes on, it freaking sticks. Get it there and a few other places. But for the most part, I'm not complaining. Now I've got to put grease on that and all the way in there, because I have got to get a stick, something to make sure this stays put when it's not in use instead of just this little handle. So we'll see what happens, and I hope the hydraulic cylinder is still good. If not, I can get a new one. Shouldn't be that expensive. So on to more hot weather work, and now I'm nearly done, so that's going to be nice to have this back at the ready and put my truck back together, which will also be awesome. So back to work. All right, she's back installed. Now this chain right here, it's considered a bit of a safety. Yeah, it ain't pretty, but I had the pipe laying around. Goes down to that. All I gotta do is pull a pin. Like I said, I gotta just pull this, pull that, full 360. Plus also it can give me a little bit of leverage if I need it, or if I need to get up and out. But the ram still works and everything. And just next step is swapping that out for an electric winch, but that's later on. But it's back in, not taking up any more space, and I can use it again. Now comes the fun part of pressure washing the back end underneath. That way I can paint it, because rust is the biggest enemy, and I've got plenty of Rust-Oleum paint, and it's the only paint I trust to deal with rust, literally. POR 15, if you follow the instructions, it does just fine, but when it comes to rust, I'm sorry. You cannot beat the Rust-Oleum, in my opinion. That's just me. I use all sorts of other products, but Rust-Oleum, it's one I constantly use. So that's done. All I gotta do now is put everything back in, hook everything back up, and hope my truck starts back up. But it should, because I disconnected everything from the battery to my amp and so forth, so everything will be fine. I just gotta reset the clock. I'm not gonna complain. So that's that, and I got the next 2 days to where I can just chill, get caught up on some other things, mainly laundry and the yard, which desperately needs to be mowed, but that's tomorrow. So that's that. And oh, by the way, the tools for the pitman arm and everything came in. I'll be finishing that up my next 2 days off and getting that video finished up. And soon, Toolbox will be ready. And mine is getting the running boards removed and so forth. So pay attention to my Instagram for that, because I have got a lot to cut and so forth. So, pretty much one more video and we should be on the Blazer. You may see a Husqvarna in the mix, but see what happens. So, like, subscribe, comment. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.